Hello guys, Ragnarok Hyper Revived here, and in an effort to make my DAI playthrough go a little faster, I'll be doing it review style with some Let's Play bits spliced within. Part of the reason for this is that the whole playthrough is made irrelevant by the fact that I don't actually get my Nightmare Mode trophy at the end of it. That's right, I don't. Remember that bit a few episodes back when I showed the difficulty had changed without me noticing it? Yeah, well it turns out that one instance ruined my entire Nightmare Mode playthrough. I had to start another and I just barely got through it as I was severely underleveled. And in fact, the only reason I got through that one was because the AI in this game is so buggy, I was able to just wail on the final bosses as they were rendered completely defenseless. And thanks sweet goodness for that. So anyway, it's time to, for the first time in the history of my channel, finish a Dragon Age playthrough. So in the immortal words of my hero, Magic Tree Stump, let's get right into it. One thing I've learned while trekking through the cold land of Thetis is that... Sorry. What I've learned is that you never mess with the animals. Just never fucking mess with the animals. Yeah, sure, some animals are pushovers and the game straight up tells you to go hunt them for sport, but the Druffalo and the bears will fuck you up. They give zero shits about you or your epic quest to save the world from itself. They will wreck your shit if you so much as look at them funny. So, after countless Druffalo deaths, I liberate the stronghold Kyre Bronach from, I don't know, some random highwaymen who had it, and with it I gain some much-needed power!
It's over 9,000! What, 9,000?!
And use it to finally visit the Winter Palace to figure out who is planning to assassinate Empress Selene. Despite the future sequence that Alexius put us through, we already well know we can defeat this person because goodness knows if they were any good at assassinating, they would have done it while we were busy getting killed by Druffalo. Upon entering the Winter Palace, we are met with the Empress's cousin, Duke Caspard, who personally accompanies us into the palace to lobby on his behalf.
Inquisitor Trevelyan, it is an honor to meet you at last. Bringing the rebel mages into the ranks of your army was brilliant. Imagine what the Inquisition could accomplish with the full support of the rightful Emperor of Orlais.
Before going into the palace proper to see it for ourselves, Josephine warns us that our every action will be scrutinized once we go inside and that we have to master the game if we are to survive.
Every word, every gesture is measured and evaluated for weakness.
Don't they sound delightful? I'm shocked we haven't invited the court to dinner at Skyhold.
The game is like Wicked Grace played to the death. You must never reveal your cards. When you meet the Empress, the eyes of the entire court will be upon you. You are safer staring down Corypheus.
It might be a good idea for the others to hear this warning. Especially Sarah. Maybe tell her twice.
I'll have a few discreet words. Everything will be fine. And the rest I watch over us all.
This segment of the game is largely a murder mystery, except that the murder hasn't happened yet. Josephine's warning at the start can largely be shrugged off except for a few key moments of dialogue in which you basically choose the middle section or the special dialogue choice every single time if you don't want to be penalized. And aside from those dialogue sections, you roam about the insides and off-limits sections of the palace in order to unearth the best suspect. One thing I find hilarious and frustrating about this segment is that when you're in an off-limits area, your approval from the nobles goes down, as if they're just so heartbroken that you're no longer around for them to make light and condescending conversation with. I mean, being a mage, most people hate me being there from the very beginning, but I just find it hilarious that the nobles are so emotionally dependent on the Inquisitor that the moment she's not around for more than 2 minutes, they start getting depressed. Anyway, in this part of the game you meet Morgan, aka the best Dragon Age character ever, who is working as an advisor to the Empress and who also wants to figure out who is behind all this. After a few hours of searching, it turns out that the Empress's sister, or cousin or whatever, Florian, is the mastermind behind it all, and working directly with Corypheus to fuck shit up. Now, apparently, there's some hidden boss fight during this part if you're a dumbass and make all the wrong choices, but I'm not a dumbass and turn Florian in by exposing her to the entire court. Now, by this point, you should have so much court approval that they believe you if you said you can shit out golds, so convincing them should be easy enough. And then, invoking the all-encompassing law of fuck you, I kill the bitch in cold blood.
At least this time, justice will be swift. Your Imperial Majesty, I think we should speak in private, elsewhere.
Once the ball's over, Morgan joins the Inquisition as a special advisor, and your romantic interest, or Josephine if you're a loser, will ask for some tender love and care.
Of course. I thought you didn't dance.
For you, I'll try.
The matter is urgent, Lady Josephine.
I am well aware of that, revered mother.
We will need them to return to Val Royeaux as soon as possible. There are ceremonies, ordinations. Make us mercy.
That's quite impossible at the moment. However, I will see to this matter as soon as possible.
My Lady Inquisitor, please, may I have a word with you?
How may I assist you, revered mother?
With the political turmoil put to rest, our minds turn to a single question. The next divine. We cannot answer it without the left and right hands of Divine Justinia V.
I have already told you, revered mother. Lady Leliana and Seeker Cassandra cannot be spared from their duties.
But surely with the support of the Empire, the Inquisition will not be harmed by the loss of just 2 souls.
Why do you need Liliana and Cassandra?
They were Her Holiness's most trusted advisors. They represent her legacy, her hopes for peace in Thedas. They could rally the Grand Clerics to follow as no candidate from the clergy has been able to.
These aren't just any 2 people. They're key members of the Inquisition.
For the sake of Thedas, we must ask you to make this sacrifice.
This will have to be settled later. The Inquisitor has only just returned and has important business to attend to. You must excuse us, revered mother. Don't let them detract from your victory at Alam Shiral. The support of the Empire should make our search for the Grey Wardens easier. Varric is eager to help his friend Hawk.
Once back in Skyhold, I talk Cullen out of his severe, crippling cocaine addiction, give trial to the ashes of Florian.
Strangely enough, something similar happened to an uncle of Emperor Leandra II. His trade routes were returned to the reigning monarch. Why don't we just follow suit?
A wise choice. Thank you for making it swiftly.
Take revenge on some unsuspecting bears, then make my way to the western approach where our Grey Warden friends are in the process of fucking shit up. It turns out the Grey Wardens are being possessed by this guy, who is perhaps Corypheus' least interesting lackey, evidenced by the fact that at the time of writing, I can't bring myself to remember his name.
Lord Livius Eramond of Virantium, at your service. Wardens, hands up. Hands down.
Ah, I was wondering when the demon army would show up.
You knew about it, did you? Well then, here you are.
At any rate, he gets away, so the Inquisition chases him down to Adamant, an old grey Warden fortress which is damn near impenetrable, meaning that you and 3 other people would be perfect to sneak in and stop them. After fighting your way through, you confront Ahriman, that's the guy you know from before, and Warden Commander Corell, who has been summoning all the demons, as she is convinced that the best way to stop a blight upon all humanity is to inflict another.
Stop them! We must complete the ritual!
Clarel, if you complete that ritual, you're doing exactly what Ahriman wants.
What? Fighting the Blight? Keeping the world safe from Darkspawn? Who wouldn't want that? And yes, the ritual requires blood sacrifice. Hate me for that if you must, but do not hate the Wardens for doing their duty!
We make the sacrifices no one else will. Our warriors die proudly for a world that will never thank them.
And then your Tevinter ally binds the mages to Corypheus!
Corypheus? But he's dead.
These people will say anything to shake your confidence, Clarel.
With some convincing dialogue, you can shift her to your side, then the game throws literally every fucking demon in the game at you, plus Corypheus' red lyrium dragon, which has been loaned out to Ahriman. After racing to find Ahriman, or being an idiot and fighting the demons like I was, Warden Commander Clarel, I can't say that right, dies trying to stop the red lyrium dragon. And the Inquisitor and friends are sent to the far plane, I mean the Fade.
Where are we?
We were falling. Is this... Are we dead?
No. The Inquisitor used the mark to open another rift. We fell through. I believe we're in the Fade.
The Fade looked much different the last time I was here.
The first time I entered the Fade, it looked like a lovely castle filled with gold and silks. I met a marvelous desire demon, as I recall. We chatted and ate grapes before he attempted to possess me. Perhaps the difference is that we are here physically. This is no one's dream.
The stories say you walked out of the Fade at Haven. Was it like this?
I don't know. I still can't remember what happened the last time I did this.
Well, whatever happened at Haven, we can't assume we're safe now. That huge demon was right on the other side of that rift Ahriman was using, and there could be others.
In our world, the rift the demons came through was nearby, in the main hall. Can we escape the same way?
Let's find out. There. Let's go.
This entry to the Fade is different from any other in the fact that no one is dreaming. Instead, the Inquisitor and her buddies are physically inside, which means that the threat of death is still there, but I don't know, it's worse somehow? You run into the ghost of Christmas Past, who helps the Inquisitor rebuild her memory of the events leading up to the explosion at the Conclave, but who still doesn't help me answer the question of what the hell the Inquisitor was doing at the Conclave to begin with. Casper also helps you fend off some of the demons you find later in the Fade, and you are confronted with the Nightmare, a giant spider thingy who releases a part of itself, the Aspect, who you have to defeat, obviously. By this point, I had no idea how I would defeat this thing on Nightmare mode. The Nightmare on Nightmare mode, how interesting. But upon realizing that barriers are freaking immaculate and mages are the best defensive class in the game with this shit, all you really need to do is spam barriers and electricity until you win. Also, staying on one side of the map so as not to trigger the AI of some of the boss's minions helps a lot. So you beat the thing, and the bigger nightmare blocks your path, so you're left with the difficult decision of who to sacrifice to fight the nightmare while everyone else escapes. This is a really powerful and difficult decision, especially if your playthrough has Alistair in the place of Stroud, I'd imagine. Because if you played through the first 2 games, you have an emotional investment in both Hawk and the Grey Wardens.
We need to clear a path!
Go! I'll cover you!
No, you were right. The Grey Wardens caused this. A Warden must...
A Warden must help them rebuild. That's your job. Corypheus is mine. Hawk. Say goodbye to Varric for me. Right there.
With the nightmare banished, Corypheus lost both his Warden mages and his demon army. But in the stories your soldiers will tell, their Inquisitor broke the spell with the Maker's blessing.
They came out of this alive. As far as I'm concerned, they can tell whatever stories they like.
And I suspect this will not be the last story they tell about you.
Inquisitor, the Archdemon flew off as soon as you disappeared. The Venatori Magister is unconscious but alive. Cullen thought you might wish to deal with him yourself. As for the Wardens, those who weren't corrupted helped us fight the demons. We stand ready to help make up for Clorel's tragic mistake.
Where's Hawk? Where's Hawk?
Hawk sacrificed her life to save us and strike a decisive blow against Corypheus.
Well...
She gave her life not because she'd sworn an oath or been marked as special, but because someone had to do it.
Stroud, you're the senior surviving Grey Warden. What do we do now?
You stay and do whatever you can to help. Stroud believes that the Wardens are worth saving, and I trust him. You're still vulnerable to Corypheus, and possibly his Venatori, but there are plenty of demons that need killing.
While they do that, I'll report to the Wardens at Weishaupt. We won't be caught off guard by Corypheus again.
Thank you, your worship. We will not fail you.
Maker watch over your Inquisition. It has been an honor.
So I left Hawk behind, which Varric does not take too well. And with that, the Warden's story is finished and Corypheus is further weakened. Now is a good time to mention that Varric is also one of my favorite characters. Varric is a funny and playful character who goes through some of the most heartbreakingly painful circumstances and who comes out seemingly no worse for the wear. But no matter what he goes through, the circumstances always seem to get worse for him. In this game, his world crashes down around him, and I legitimately worry that he might succumb to depression and kill himself once it's all over. His character is a phenomenal one, equaled only perhaps by Cassandra's, who also goes through some serious emotional devastation throughout this entire story. So that's it for this episode. I know this is a largely different style from what I usually do with the Dragon Age games, but I like to think that it keeps the action moving, it keeps the plot going along, and it cuts out a lot of the pointless bits of me just walking around, traveling, and not really getting anything done. And honestly, it's a lot easier to edit than having to go through a million different 2-hour-long videos and figure out which parts I want to keep and which parts I don't. So, thank you guys for watching. Have a good one. Please leave a like if you did indeed like the video. Subscribe to my channel if this is your first time viewing and you want to see more of this. And share this video with everyone you possibly can. And if they don't want to watch it, you should probably murder them. So yeah, thanks again, and stay tuned for the next episode of Dragon Age Bit by Bit. See you later.
Adamant's influence continues, your worship. I submit Lord Livius Erimond of Virantium, who remains loyal to Corypheus. We found him alive, offering extreme resistance, likely because the Order will ask for his head. In more colorful terms. To say nothing of justice you might personally require for what was suffered in the Fade.
Countless better men and women than you are dead. Why shouldn't this be quick?
I recognize none of this proceeding. You have no authority to judge me.
On the contrary, many officials have communicated that they will defer to the Inquisitor on this matter.
Because they fear. Not just Corypheus, but Tevinter, rightful ruler of every piece of ground you trod in your pathetic life. I served a living god. Bring down your blades and free me from the physical. Glory awaits me.
You are the worst of us. The damage you have done is beyond all reckoning. A mage's crime, a mage's punishment. Lord Livius Erimond of Virantium, I deny you death. Tranquility.
You cannot! I am a lord, you pissants! I will not lose myself!
Power!